Welcome back to the Chattable podcast, where we enrich vocabulary and speak English with pride. Today, we are looking at two really common phrases that, well, they basically control the speed of our lives.
Yeah, they really do capture the whole spectrum of pacing in our daily routines.
Right. Like one is what you say right before a roller coaster drops.
Yeah.
And the other is what you say when the ride breaks down entirely.
Exactly. And, mastering how to express that sense of time or readiness or even frustration is just so essential if you want to sound natural when speaking English.
I mean, you can memorize vocabulary all day, but knowing how a word actually feels in a room is a completely different skill.
Oh, absolutely. It is all about the emotional weight and the physical feeling those words carry.
Yeah, and since we are really focusing on clear, crisp pronunciation for our listeners today, we will take our time exploring these concepts. So let's start with that feeling of extreme acceleration.
Okay, so we're talking about the phrase buckle up.
Yes, buckle up. When I hear that, I instantly picture sitting on a commercial airplane. You're reading a book, maybe sipping some water, and then you hear that specific ding over the intercom.
Right, the fasten seatbelt sign lights up.
Exactly. Because the captain knows something that you don't.
Yeah, the captain can see the weather radar. They know the plane is about to fly through some rough air or maybe some sudden turbulence ahead.
So the flight attendants come down the aisle telling everyone to buckle up.
Which is literally securing your physical body because the environment around you is about to get unpredictable.
You feel that literal click of the metal belt sliding into place. And what is so fascinating to me is how we took that very specific instruction from aviation or from driving a car, and we just mapped it onto our emotional lives.
We really did. We use it for any situation that feels like a bumpy ride.
Right.
It acts as a verbal warning. So when someone tells you to buckle up in a normal conversation, they are signaling that the environment you are in, whether it's a workplace or a relationship, is about to become highly intense.
Like they're giving you a second to mentally prepare for chaos.
Precisely. You are giving the person you are speaking to a runway to brace themselves.
The intensity part is key, I think. I always associate it with an amusement park experience.
Oh, like the roller coaster you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Think about being strapped into one of those massive wooden roller coasters. The car is slowly ticking its way up the very highest, steepest hill. Click, click, click.
Building all that anticipation.
Exactly. You reach the crest. You look down at that terrifying drop ahead of you.
And your stomach just falls.
Yes. But actually, wait, I have a question here.
Sure, go ahead.
Does this phrase always imply impending doom? Because a roller coaster drop is scary, but it is also thrilling. Can buckle up be used for something positive or just intense?
That is a really brilliant distinction to draw. No, it doesn't strictly mean a tragedy or a disaster is coming.
Okay, so it can just mean something huge is happening.
It primarily signals a struggle or a wild ride. So it can certainly herald a difficult, stressful period, but it is equally at home describing overwhelming activity that might lead to a big success.
Got it. So the core requirement is simply high intensity.
Exactly. To see what this actually looks like in practice, imagine a corporate environment.
Right, like a manager, let's call her Sarah, calling a sudden team meeting.
Yeah, she calls everyone into the main conference room. She has to deliver some massive news about a schedule change.
The client suddenly moved the deadline.
Yes, and now Sarah has to tell her team that they must cram an entire month's worth of work into just 3 days.
Wow, that is intense.
Right. In that moment, Sarah isn't warning them about physical danger.
The building isn't on fire.
Exactly. But by telling her team to buckle up, she is giving them the mental runway to prepare for a severe sprint.
So late nights, lots of coffee, and incredibly high stress.
Yeah, she's setting the expectation that the next 3 days will not be smooth.
Because if she didn't give them that warning, the sudden workload would just feel like a huge shock.
Buckle up softens the blow. It acknowledges the upcoming struggle before it hits.
And it scales up too, right? Like well beyond a single office building.
Oh, definitely. We see this phrase applied to massive global forces.
Like geopolitical tensions. Take the ongoing conflict in Iran, for example.
Yes, that situation creates a massive amount of global uncertainty.
And that uncertainty just ripples out into the world markets.
Exactly. So economists and journalists use this exact phrasing to prepare the public.
Because the end of that conflict isn't in sight.
Right, so financial experts warn everyday consumers to buckle up for wild fluctuations in gas prices and overall living costs.
Which is exactly like the airplane turbulence.
The mechanism is identical. Massive forces outside of our immediate control are going to make our financial ride bumpy.
Which means our wallets are going to feel the turbulence every time we fill up our cars at the gas station.
Yes, it is the perfect idiom for relinquishing control and just preparing to endure the ride.
But because it has this inherently adventurous, slightly chaotic energy, using it in the wrong context could really backfire, right?
Oh, tone is everything with this phrase.
It feels like an idiom that requires you to read the room.
Absolutely. Because it implies action, momentum, and a sort of wild struggle, it clashes terribly with environments designed to be calm or deeply serious.
Right.
Using it in those settings will make you sound incredibly out of touch to a native speaker.
I am just imagining someone walking into a quiet, dimly lit health spa.
Oh, perfect example.
You know, there was soft flute music playing. People have cucumber slices over their eyes.
And this person just yells out.
Yeah, they yell out, "All right, I'm getting a hot stone massage. Everybody buckle up."
That shatters the atmosphere entirely. A spa is the exact opposite of a roller coaster.
You go there to loosen up, not to buckle up.
Right. And you would also never use it if you were just heading upstairs to take a quiet afternoon nap. There is no turbulence in a nap.
No, definitely not. But on a much more serious note, this phrase lacks the necessary empathy for somber situations.
Yes, you have to be very careful. You would never use it at a hospital when waiting for serious medical test results.
Or at a funeral.
Never, because in those moments, people are experiencing genuine grief or profound fear.
Telling a grieving person to buckle up sounds incredibly flippant.
It sounds as though you are treating a profound human tragedy like a thrilling theme park ride.
Wow, yeah, that makes sense.
Native English speakers reserve this phrase strictly for busy, chaotic, or stressful situations where a slightly rugged, adventurous tone is socially acceptable.
Okay, so buckle up is all about anticipating that chaotic momentum. You are flying forward into the unknown.
And you are warning everyone to hold on tight.
Right. But what happens when that intense momentum suddenly hits a solid brick wall?
The sudden stop.
Yeah. How do we describe the feeling when that fast-moving ride comes to a complete, frustrating halt?
That abrupt stop brings us to our second phrase for this episode, a holdup.
A holdup.
Yes. If buckling up is about intense preparation, a holdup carries the very relatable, everyday vibe of annoyance and frustration.
It is, quite simply, a delay that stops your progress.
Exactly. And just like we did with the seatbelts, if we look at the physical imagery behind the word, it makes perfect sense.
I picture driving down a busy, fast-moving highway, and suddenly, brake lights flash everywhere.
Traffic comes to a dead stop.
Because there's a massive fallen tree lying completely across the lanes.
That fallen tree is a physical barrier. It is literally holding up the line of cars behind it.
Physically preventing their forward motion.
Yes. And over time, we took that literal image of a physical roadblock and applied it to any abstract barrier that stops our personal progress.
It could be a missing set of keys when you are already 5 minutes late to leave the house.
Or a slow internet connection when you are trying to submit an assignment at the very last minute.
The delay itself becomes the holdup.
Yes. Anyone who has ever tried to coordinate a family morning routine knows this feeling deep in their bones.
Oh, absolutely. Picture a house with 3 young kids all trying to get ready for elementary school.
It is practically a daily war zone.
The parents are trying to pack lunches, make breakfast, find backpacks, and get everyone out the door by 7:30 a.m.
And no matter how well they plan the night before, there is always, without fail, some sort of holdup.
Someone accidentally knocks over a giant glass of milk.
And it shatters all over the kitchen floor. Suddenly, all forward momentum stops.
The milk has to be cleaned up. Maybe clothes need to be changed.
That spilled milk acts as the fallen tree in the road. It is the barrier preventing the family from leaving.
Or they finally make it to the front door. Coats are on. They're ready to march out to the car.
And one child cannot find their left shoe.
You simply cannot send a kid to school with one shoe.
So that missing footwear is the holdup.
But
It is the barrier keeping them from catching the school bus on time.
that domestic chaos is highly relatable, and it captures the frustrating nature of the word beautifully.
But the phrase transitions seamlessly into professional environments as well.
Okay, so how would that look in an office?
Consider a corporate setting where someone, let's call him Marcus, is supposed to lead a major pitch to new clients.
He is standing in the conference room, the stakeholders are seated, and he goes to share his screen.
And the digital projector just refuses to connect to his laptop.
Oh, the worst. We have all sat through that incredibly awkward silence while someone desperately clicks their mouse.
Unplugging the HDMI cable over and over again, sweating through their shirt.
Marcus is completely blocked from moving his presentation forward.
The technology failure is the barrier. So later, when his boss asks why the pitch started 15 minutes late,
Marcus doesn't need to over-explain the technical details or sound flustered.
exactly. He can simply and naturally say, I apologize, there was a holdup with the projector.
It is a professional, concise way to explain a delay without taking the blame entirely on yourself.
Because the projector was the barrier.
But looking at the history of the term, I have to push back a little here.
Oh.
Yes, because holdup has a very famous second meaning in English.
It certainly does.
In every classic Western movie or crime film, the bandit bursts through the saloon doors, points a weapon, and shouts, "Stick 'em up! This is a holdup."
Yes, you are bringing up a vital point about the evolution of the language. The noun form of the word also refers to an armed robbery.
Literally a crime where the victims are forced to hold their hands up in the air.
Yes.
So isn't it inherently risky to use a word synonymous with armed robbery just to explain why you are late to work?
I see what you mean.
Like if I tell my manager, sorry I'm late, there was a massive holdup on the bridge. Are they going to assume I was robbed at gunpoint during my morning commute?
Well, context usually does the heavy lifting in English.
How so?
If you stroll into the office with a coffee in hand, looking mildly annoyed about traffic, everyone intuitively understands you mean a delay.
Right, the visual cues tell them you were not the victim of a violent crime.
Exactly. However, your instinct about the danger is spot on.
Really?
Yes, because there is one specific environment where using this word could trigger an absolute disaster.
The one place where a robbery is everyone's worst fear.
Inside a bank.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You must completely avoid this word if you are waiting in line at a financial institution, a jewelry store, or an airport security checkpoint.
Let's unpack that scenario because it is so important.
Okay, imagine you are on your lunch break.
You are in a rush to deposit a check. There's only one bank teller working, the computer system is slow, and the line isn't moving.
You are watching the clock and you are incredibly frustrated.
So your natural instinct, based on everything we have just discussed, might be to complain about the delay using your new vocabulary word.
But imagine what happens if you sigh loudly in the middle of a quiet bank lobby and yell to the manager, "Excuse me, what is causing this holdup?"
Oh no. The security guards might unholster their weapons.
People might drop to the floor in a panic. The teller might press the silent alarm under the desk.
Because in a bank setting, the primary overriding definition of holdup is a violent crime.
It completely overrides the delay, meaning you could incite a genuine panic and a massive security response.
Simply by choosing a word with a double meaning in the most sensitive location possible.
Exactly.
That is such a vivid rule to remember. So, to be perfectly clear to everyone listening,
Yes, please note this.
if you are anywhere near a teller window, a security guard, or a cash register, strike the word holdup from your vocabulary.
If you need to complain about the line, stick to the safest, most standard word, delay.
Just say, excuse me, what is causing this delay?
Keep it simple, keep it safe. Outside the bank, use holdup for your lost keys, bad traffic, and broken projectors.
But inside the bank, it is always a delay.
Always.
We have really covered some fascinating ground today. Let's do a quick summary to lock these concepts in.
Sounds good.
First, we looked at buckle up, which you use to give a verbal warning and prepare someone for a wild, intense time.
It is all about anticipating a bumpy ride.
Whether you were cramming 3 days of intense work or watching the global economy bounce around unpredictably.
And then we explored holdup, the perfect word for describing a frustrating stop.
Or a physical or metaphorical barrier that prevents you from making progress.
It captures that everyday annoyance of losing your shoes in the morning or dealing with a stubborn computer in a meeting.
Integrating these two phrases into your vocabulary will definitely elevate your conversational English.
You are moving beyond literal translations from a textbook.
And tapping into the actual rhythm, imagery, and pacing that native speakers use every day.
You have the tools for when life hits the gas pedal and for when it slams on the brakes.
And importantly, knowing the cultural boundaries, avoiding buckle up in a funeral and never shouting hold up in a bank, gives you the confidence to use these phrases safely and naturally.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up this episode of the Chattable podcast, I want to leave you with something to ponder.
Oh, I love these.
Notice how much of modern English vocabulary is deeply tied to transportation.
It's true.
We spent this entire time talking about seatbelts on airplanes, bumpy car rides, and physical barriers blocking traffic lanes.
A lot of movement.
Right. So as you go about your week, whether you are watching a movie, reading an article, or listening to native speakers, I want you to listen closely to their daily conversations.
Pay attention to the idioms.
What other everyday idioms secretly have their roots in how we move from place to place? Keep your ears open.
You might be surprised by how much of our language is just trying to navigate the road ahead.
Until next time, thank you for joining us, and keep speaking with pride.